What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardawar. Joining me today is Sam Rutherford, senior editor. Hey, Sam.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. And our podcast producer, Ben Ellman. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. Sherlyn is out sick today, so I'm basically swapping with her. I was out sick last week, so that was fun. Yeah, we're going to be diving into a bunch of things. The main topic is the Supreme Court versus the EPA ruling, which, hey guys, I'm looking at you in the chat room wondering, why is a tech podcast talking about this? What do you think all of our power generation, all of our power generating technology is about? This is tech. So stay tuned. We'll be talking a lot about that. Hello, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for joining us this morning. Want to shout out anybody, Ben?
Declan Flynn was
hello, friends.
Yes, Declan Flynn has been doing a good job. Small feedback from we're trying to figure out some other sorry about that. We're trying to figure out some other technical stuff before we go live with the thing. But like Declan Flynn said, you should listen to opinions you don't agree with, otherwise you end up in an echo chamber. So yes, thank you for advocating for like the relevancy of this topic. But seriously, like even if it wasn't just power generation that goes into our tech, how are we supposed to continue to enjoy our neat little gadgets unless the Earth survives long enough?
What do you think is powering the gadgets, people?
But also like
that.
Let's just survive long enough to continue to enjoy neat little gadgets.
It's also, hey, this is our show, and we can focus on what we want to help educate you, the audience. And I think this is an important thing for people to learn about, for sure. Because this will literally change the way we have to prepare for climate change, and it kind of sucks. So there's a lot going on here. Hello, everybody. I'm seeing... Our normal folks. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we've got Jonathan Anderson. Chat here, Jonathan Anderson. We've got Buddy 305 Love. We've got Michigan Sunday. That's a new
Sunday.
Name.
Yep.
So yes, hello to everyone. And like some guy named Devendra Hardware. I don't know why he's in the chat.
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to get into? Let's.
We will be talking about Minions memes, so stay tuned for that.
And yes, we will actually be talking about straight tech. So like, just give us 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll get to more straight tech stuff.
And please listen, because it is important in terms of what's happening. But okay, do we want to get started, folks? For everybody new, we're going to be recording the audio podcast. We can't always talk with you while we're doing that. We'll do some Q&A when we can. Okay? All right. Are we good to do, we want to do a clap?
Yeah, let's sync. I was about to say that. So let's sync. Chat, if you want to clap also, that's always appreciated. So counting down from 3. And at the end of 3, we're going to do a big clap and then maybe 5 seconds of silence, and then we'll get into
some meditation time.
Yep. Yes, just a little bit of meditation time to help me edit. So 3, 2, 1. I lied. That was 10 seconds, but
that's fine.
Hey, gotta be extra sure.
Got to be extra sure. So thank you all for joining us. We are going to go right into this. And just FYI, I'll be recording an audio interview with somebody from ProPublica, Lisa Song from ProPublica. So I'm going to reference that, but we will not be hearing that during the live stream because that hasn't been recorded yet. Okay. All right, everybody good to go?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start in 3, 2, 1. Actually, I'm still... Is it your headphones, Ben?
Just headphone bleed.
Headphone bleed, yeah.
Okay.
That won't be coming through, but you know. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's up, internet, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardawar. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, sorry. Hey, what's going on?
Sam, let's do that again.
Yes.
What's up, internet, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardawar.
And I'm Sam Rutherford.
Hello, Sam. Thank you for joining us. Sherlyn is out this week. She's a little bit sick, but we're kind of trading because I was out sick with the COVID last week. That was not fun. But we are, you know what? I'm recovering. My daughter's recovering, which is the most important thing. So I am ready to chat with you all. And let me do that. I'll be talking a bit about my experience too in the middle of this show. So stay tuned for all of that. But you know what, folks? We're going to be talking about something that's incredibly important, which was last week's Supreme Court ruling, West Virginia versus EPA. And that ruling, which, Sherlyn mentioned a bit, we talked a bit about last week. We'll be diving deeper into it to see what it means, because it effectively cuts the EPA's ability to broadly regulate climate emissions or emissions from power plants. So there's a lot going on. It's a little complicated, but I wanted to break it down. We're going to be having a great guest on to talk about that. So stay tuned. As always, if you're enjoying the Engadget podcast, please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes, and join us Thursday mornings, typically around 10 a.m. Eastern, on our YouTube channel. We do a live stream where you can see our pretty faces and you can have some chats with us. We'll do some Q&A. Sometimes we'll show off gadgets. It's a really fun time. And if you have any questions, you can drop us a note at podcast@engadget.com. Okay, this Supreme Court ruling, which kind of came down amid a very busy week last week, right? Because they were coming in hot with all sorts of things, knocking down Roe v. Wade, basically making it illegal for some states to have safe zones for guns too. Like, this conservative Supreme Court is really just like gunning for everything in many, many ways. But this week we want to focus on the EPA ruling, because it is kind of a wild thing. It's also a really confusing thing too, because I've been following a lot of climate journalists and reporters who were really dreading this. There were murmurs that the Supreme Court was basically going to gut the EPA entirely and kill its ability to do any sort of pollution prevention or help us get ready to deal with climate change. It turns out that's not actually what's happened, but it's still it's still kind of a roadblock for us in terms of like making things better. So here's what happened. Let me just drink some water here. So here's what happened, and it is a little confusing. So the Supreme Court effectively struck down the Obama-era Clean Power Plan for coal and gas power plants, which was kind of a broad way to transition us away from using dirty fuel, away from using coal. It was meant to bring us to using natural gas in some plants, and then eventually to renewables, like on a broad level across the entire country. That is a really weird thing for the Supreme Court to even rule on, because they already stayed that plan in 2016, so it kind of wasn't going to happen. And the Trump administration also repealed it in 2019, and I believe the Biden administration or the EPA kind of fought back against that. But effectively, the Clean Power Plan was never actually going to happen, and the Supreme Court just ruled that, hey, that thing that you were never going to do, don't do it, right? Sam, I know you've been reading about this stuff. What was your first impression like once you heard this news?
I was really annoyed because it seems like the Supreme Court is using a really silly kind of technicality in order to be able to limit the power of the EPA. Because this whole, they don't want the EPA to be able to do big sweeping gestures. However, in the majority opinion, they were basically saying, we're saying this because Congress hasn't specifically given the EPA explicitly this power, so they're basically kicking it back to Congress. And this is kind of like a little bit of gamesmanship, it feels like, because you have this thing where it's like they know Congress is deadlocked and that there's a lot of just inactivity or inability to pass statutes or laws in Congress, and so they're like, oh, if we knock it out on this technicality, they're not going to be able to change it because Congress is in such a jam. And so it's like it's a really weird way to kind of flex the Supreme Court's power in order to overturn or dictate what the EPA can do.
And you know what? This all sounds really complicated, but there are a few topics you guys should just know. And I think the main thing is the major questions ruling that Chief Justice Roberts brought up, which is basically that idea that you're talking about, Sam, that the EPA as an agency cannot make system-wide change. They can't make a judgment that will affect the entire country all at once. what they're saying is that they can do things individually to a specific power plant in a specific state, but they can't do anything broadly, which I think just undercuts any like broad plans to reduce emissions. And yeah, any of those changes that if you do want a broad sweeping change, you got to bring that sucker to Congress, and you have to have everybody vote on it. And looking at how Congress looks right now, that it seems like that makes it impossible to do any major progressive movements. Another like I think another thing that is that's kind of interesting, like there is the Chevron defense, which is something that all the agencies have used before, which is what gave them the kind of power to say, hey, the Supreme Court never explicitly said I could do this or that, but I'm the EPA. I should be ruling, you know, I have the experts. I should be kind of making moves when it comes to environmental protection. And they've basically used that ruling to say, okay, the Congress never specifically said this, but I'm going to do this because I'm the EPA. We kind of know what we're doing here. And just because Congress never said we should do it doesn't mean we can't do it. So there's a lot of language going on here. There's a lot of legalese.
Right. And it kind of changes the default state of, oh, we have these like government bodies that oversee certain categories or sectors. And they were, you know, that was the kind of default, is that they get to do these things unless someone challenges them. And now we're kind of reversing that. It's like, oh, they can't act unless they have explicit permission.
Which is kind of amazing. So what does this mean, right? What this means is that it kind of rules out methods that the EPA could use to help us reduce greenhouse gases and reduce emissions. So things like cap and trade, things like saying like every power plant in the country just needs to start being more efficient. They can't like implement wide efficiency
especially
limits or anything
like
multi-state
wide regulation.
Exactly. So the things that will actually make a difference. And this is something we'll keep coming back to when we're talking about in the environment and regulations in general. But I was of the generation, you know, that was raised on recycling, you know, that was told like, you have the power to put all these things in boxes. And because you do that, you can help to save the planet. And we are learning more and more. There's a lot of great reporting about this, and we've talked about it before, that some recycling, especially plastic recycling, is a complete fantasy. And a lot of it was built up by, you know, the petroleum industry and industries actually creating these things to kind of put the onus on consumers to say like, oh, you're a bad consumer if you're not doing this. But first of all, that stuff never actually gets recycled. And we also know at this point that individual choices, individual actions don't have as much of an effect on the overall environment, on the entire planet, as how, you know, BP or other companies decide to gather fuel or burn fuel or anything.
Right.
So
it's actually like a kind of twisted mindset, because
it's
you're
insane.
saying like, you know, you're asking, you have big multinational companies like Coke or Pepsi, and they're like, oh, they're asking you, please recycle our plastic bottles. Well, okay, hold on. Why don't you not make plastic bottles? And like, you know, what's going to be the bigger impact? You know, the average person recycling as many bottles as they can, or not having to, you know, deal with the nightmare of plastic recycling, which, you know, as you said, has been shown to be largely ineffective.
One thing I want to mention here, I think Justice Elena Kagan, so, you know, 6 of the justices supported this plan, the conservative justices. There were 3 dissenters. Kagan wrote the you know, dissent text. But she said, whatever else this court may know about, it does not have a clue about how to address climate change. And let's say the obvious, the stakes here are high. The court appoints itself instead of Congress or the expert agency, the decision maker on climate policy. I can't think of many things more frightening. That's the end of her quote. And that is kind of it. This is a weird thing where essentially the Supreme Court is the end all be all for making these judgments, and not the scientists, not the experts at the EPA. And to me, that seems kind of worrying. Do you have any other thoughts, Sam? Because we are going to be moving on to, let me just throw it to you. Do you have any other thoughts on this, Sam? Because this means a lot, right? You have a kid. We both have kids, and I think about like what is the world we're leaving to them here? Like, what are you thinking?
I have a couple interesting, you know, kind of takeaways. Is that like, as part of the decision, the EPA is basically like the Supreme Court said that like the EPA can monitor regulations on like a power plant by power plant basis, which is crazy to think that they're going to have to do this individually for each power plant, you know, the thousands that exist across the country. And then on top of that, you know, they've already said that like doing individual changes on a case-by-case basis is nowhere near as going to be effective as being able to make large changes in order to shift, let's shift away from coal to more renewables, to more clean energy. And it's like, just putting more filters on a smokestack is not going to cut it, especially after you do it one by one.
It's not going to cut it. It's also going to be much more expensive than like a broader change across the entire industry. So Robin Samire over at The Atlantic has a really good article called "This Ruling Will Make It Very Expensive." It's going to make fighting climate change is going to be very, very expensive thanks to this, because there are a lot of like cheaper methods and more efficient methods that they could implement broadly that can't be done right now because it has to be done individually. It's just wild. So it doesn't kill the EPA, but it's sort of like, you can't really do your job. You have to do it it's like using a toothbrush to clean an entire kitchen rather than, literally any other method. So something like that.
Right. And the other kind of quick thing is that like it kind of points even more to like the kind of breakdown of our checks and balances system, because, back in the day, in the 1980s or whatever, if the Supreme Court made a decision or made an overturn that Congress didn't like, Congress would then pass a law, and then there'd be that like back and forth. But more recently, the Supreme Court will overturn the decision and Congress won't do anything about it. And so it's like, you have to have the whole idea is like you have these different branches of the government that are working together to, do that push and pull in order to like, refine our laws and statutes. And now it just seems like, something gets reversed and that topic just gets dropped entirely. That is a very worrying thing, because this problem, climate change, is obviously not going to go away. And so it's really disheartening to think that's like, it almost feels like people have given up in a way.
In a certain sense, it has felt like, we've seen the looming threat of, the global temperature rise. It seems like 2040 was a big deadline by the time where we should do a lot of things. And if the EPA can't effectively like manage or help reduce emissions broadly, it seems like it just feels like they'll never actually make it happen. Another thing people are talking about here is just how kind of vague this whole thing is, because the major questions ruling brought up by Justice Roberts could affect other agencies too. It means like literally anything else that has experts cannot act effectively until Congress does. This certainly sets the precedence for that. We don't know if that's going to be used, but there are a lot of deeper questions here. And, to help break some of that down, I want to talk with somebody who covers climate, entirely, who is a bit of a climate and environmentalist expert. So I chatted with Lisa Song at ProPublica. She's written a great piece around this too. Her piece is called "The Supreme Court's EPA Decision Could Hamper Regulators' Ability to Protect the Public." Let me do that again.
Thank you.
She wrote a piece called "The Supreme Court's EPA Decision Could Hamper Regulators' Ability to Protect the Public." So let me chat with her. Let me take a drink here. Hold on. I'm still dealing with like lingering coughs and stuff, folks, after last week. Okay, I'm just going to throw it to that interview and then we can move on to other news. Take a listen to my interview with Lisa Song.
Can we get it one more time?
Take a listen to my interview with Lisa Song.
Okay, yeah, I think that's stronger.
Okay, next up. All right, let's move on to some other news. And there were a couple of things that were pretty interesting this week. And one thing that came in really late as we were planning this episode is a new lockdown mode that Apple has announced that will secure iOS, iPad, macOS devices. Sam, you cover a lot of mobile these days. Can you help break this down for us?
Yeah, so the lockdown mode is kind of like a new feature, and it's designed specifically for a very limited number of people. It's to kind of protect their security in an extra, really, as the feature name implies, it's a really lockdown mode, so they're less vulnerable to being hacked or phished. And so, it removes the ability to, block certain FaceTime calls or invites unless it's like, that, this person is safe, this is a trusted contact. And they also block certain like JavaScript executables so that, you can't just don't have Rogue running on, in Safari or on web pages. But I mean, so I guess the general idea is like, if you turn this mode on specifically because you are suspected that someone is trying to attack you or hack you, you have a little bit of extra protection, but it's really designed for high profile people. So it's not going to be available, or it's not really that useful to your average person.
It is going to be available to everybody. It's going to be a mode that anybody can flip on, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. But what is, it really is like, who is this meant for? Why did Apple even go to the lengths to do this? And it really comes down to like the wave of like cyber attacks we've seen against like very, very important people. This kind of,
are you worried about people stealing your Bored Apes?
I will never have Bored Apes, but things like that. I'm the sort of person, every time I publish a review or something, or even after this episode, I'm sure I start to see hits on my Facebook account, like password reset hits and things like that. Like, people are always trying to get into my accounts, but I'm not even the type of person this is talking about. I think this is more for like, journalists who are doing actual work and dealing with sensitive data, or politicians who are doing literally anything like statecraft work. This is meant for those people to have an easy way if you're going somewhere where you're not sure. A lot of advice, a lot of like OPSEC advice for if you have to visit China or if you have to visit Russia or something. People would say, never take your personal devices, never take your actual business device. Go with a, like a burner type of phone. Try to be as locked down as possible. This kind of would help those people if they have to go into environments that they don't fully control.
Yep.
And yeah, in general, like I don't think the president of the United States needs this, because he's already using, a very secure device that's locked down in so many other ways. But
although that's kind of funny, because it reminds me of, remember back in the day when Obama had a BlackBerry and he was like, I don't want to give it up, and so they had to go through some special like tech security registration to make sure that like his BlackBerry was okay. So this is kind of like not necessarily an evolution to that, but you see that like obviously, for people, people very attached to their phones, and like they want to be able to use it even if they're in like a more high profile role or job.
But I'm glad you brought up BlackBerry, Sam, because kind of the thing that was key to BlackBerry, as a former IT guy, IT people love BlackBerry because it was a very secure platform. It was very easy to manage and control it. So yeah, even though Obama was using his, that was actually certainly much better than certain other people using an Android phone or something.
Right, a very old Android phone that was like, I believe was like lacking, was out of security patches for a long time and was still being used.
Just running a BlackBerry gave people like a certain level of security, and that never kind of because BlackBerries had to deal with enterprise data and a lot of secure data, so they had enterprise security built in. iPhones not as much. Android devices definitely not. Like, Android devices are just like a freewheeling marketplace of insanity. So yeah, do you think this mode is a good idea for Apple? Do you think this will help differentiate Apple devices compared to Androids or something?
I mean, Apple has been like, pushing the privacy and security front across all of their, platforms and stuff. So it kind of seems like a natural evolution. I'm just not so sure that it's going to be useful to most people on a day-to-day basis. It's one of those things that's, it's nice to know that it's there. And, you might even like be in a situation where it's like, oh, you dropped your, your wallet, or you recently have been getting like a ton of spam or phishing emails. And it's like, oh, something's weird, and maybe you lock your phone down temporarily so that you can contact your credit card company or something, and make sure that everything's like safe. And so I like that it's useful, but it's like it's one of those like, it's nice to have, but you don't really think about it until you need it in that specific situation.
I hope it is something you can enable like remotely, right? So if you leave your phone, or I think even worse, like you leave your computer somewhere and you realize that the Find My app on iOS devices and Apple devices in general helps you do a lot of things. But specifically, if you could just flip a button and be like, hey, just lock this down until I get it back or something, that would be super useful. Who probably could have used this lockdown mode is the Axie Infinity developers. There was news going around yesterday that I wrote up Axie Infinity's hack. That was a hack where hackers stole $625 million from them from their Ethereum linked Ronin sidechain. All magic words over here. But one of the biggest decentralized finance or DeFi hacks that we've seen recently.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out, according to the block, based on two sources, they say they managed to infiltrate Axie Infinity owner Sky Maven's network by sending a PDF to one employee with a potential job offer. They thought they were applying to a job through LinkedIn. They sent this PDF. The PDF had spyware built in. Once they opened it up, it kind of exploded and started exploring their network and looking for the things that would help them control the Axie Infinity blockchain. So just kind of wild. If you had a lockdown device, you would not be able to run scripts from PDF.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to do certain things like that. A random little script like that wouldn't have access to the rest of your entire network. So that would certainly help. And just talk about like a big boo-boo, when I was working in IT, like right out of college, there was a point where like one of my colleagues had opened an email that had like one of the major spywares that hadn't hit our network yet. They opened it up and they were like, oh no. And then immediately the entire network was flooded. So it happens even among like security professionals. And it's very easy for it to still happen. I think what's really funny is that this hack is essentially, it's social engineering, right? Like this, no matter what
Absolutely.
we're talking about, like NFTs or having completely decentralized things like the blockchain, social engineering is still like a major flaw. Humans are still a huge security flaw, and all it takes is to trick the right human, get your foot a little bit into the door, and you could just like wreak a tremendous amount of damage.
Right. I mean, this could happen to anyone, and like a lot of people, we like to think that like, oh, I couldn't be fooled by like those weak, obvious phishing attempts or scamming attempts. But like, even in something like this, like if someone puts in the effort to like, make a fake website for a company and create a job offer PDF, it's like, most people probably wouldn't think to like, oh, I've been talking to these people for a certain day, like they seem to have some sort of credentials, and then boom, this happens. It's like, operational security is an important thing, and it's like you said, it's like it's easy to trick the meat bag that's like at the behind the screen.
Yeah. What's funny is that Axie Infinity is still, they actually just recently, I think last week, spun back up the game. They're still using the same sidechain. They're still using Ronin, but they have more methods to kind of make it easier. They said that they increased the validator nodes, which is what helps people get access. Before there were 9, now they're going to be 11. They're talking about like getting up to 100. And what's interesting is that the hackers, which by the way, the FBI, the federal government like said it was Lazarus, which is a group from North Korea. So that's been like fully added. They gained access to 5 nodes, which gave them the ability to like fully get into that blockchain.
Right. One of the interesting things is like, when for a lot of blockchains, if you have like control of 50% of the network of the blockchain network, then you can do whatever you want. And so that, like you said, if you have 5 out of 9 nodes, that's a majority. And that's, when things get really dangerous, and then you can start basically doing whatever you want with that blockchain.
Just wild. I don't think I'll ever play Axie Infinity, but the storyline behind this, because this is a play to earn game where you could potentially earn money by playing it. It is tied to crypto, like it is crypto driven. I think the story is some places, like some people, especially in like Southeast Asia, have been able to make a living playing this game and earning enough money to support themselves. I think the story now, because of the crypto crash in general, the value of like Axie's
that's
like
cratered.
It's like cratered entirely. They've lost over 2 million users, I think. They've lost a lot of users, not 2 million. So if you lose users, then also the value of the entire project kind of goes down. So I don't know what's going to happen to Axie Infinity. I'm not a fan of these play to earn games, but I do wonder if there's a way to like make this work and not make it seem like you're just creating slave labor for these people out there. That would not be great.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
it's like the whole Axie Infinity is hard because it's kind of like a weak Pokemon clone, but
Mhm.
because you are able to breed the Axies, like you can breed Pokemon, and then you can sell Axies for the crypto. Does allow people to earn money through the game, but you're really just it's kind of grinding it out. And I think for a lot of people, it's like they play games to have fun. Turning games into a job, especially in a way that's like you're not competing for like to see who's the best. You're just
Mhm.
kind of trying to produce as many Axies or Pokemon as you can. It's kind of depressing to think about that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Another story. Let me just do a transition to this. Moving on to something entirely different, we did see news this week that Toyota has run out of their federal EV tax credits, which this affects me because I'm always looking for an upgrade. I've talked about like my whole car buying process here. I recently bought the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, which is a great plug-in hybrid minivan, except it was recalled and now I can't charge it. And now it's I'm still paying high gas
Yeah. Now you
prices.
just have a regular gas car.
Now I
gas
just have a
van.
minivan, which
Yeah.
could potentially explode at some point. So thanks a lot, Chrysler. First of all, what are your thoughts? Like, Sam, I'd never thought about getting a car, especially while I was living in Brooklyn, until I had a kid. And then I was
Yep.
like, okay, car would be nice. It would be really nice to just pick up and
It's
go.
really funny that you mentioned that because
Yeah.
I'm sort of in the same place. It's like I live in the city. I don't own a car, but for like having to take a kid to doctor's appointments or like specialty stuff or like any sort of health related stuff, you kind of need a car. And I live in New Jersey, and New Jersey you have this weird law where you have to bring the kid home in a car seat because they don't even entertain the idea that I actually live close enough to the hospital. I could walk home in the same amount of time it would take to drive home. And I was not allowed to just walk out of the hospital.
That is wild. So in New York, like you do need to put them in a car seat, but I'd never heard the rule that you couldn't just walk home. That is wild.
Yeah. And like maybe it was just like the hospital trying to play it really safe. But yeah, they were like, you have to take the kid out in a car seat. Like a regular stroller with a bassinet is like not okay. And it's like, well, look, I'm trying to be urban. I'm trying to like, part of the reason like I live in the city is because our public transportation is great, and it does wonders for the environment. Less really efficient on taking the subway versus driving a car. But I mean, so getting back to like the Toyota running out of the EV tax credits, it's just like it feels really kind of like a slap in the face to a lot of consumers because each car manufacturer has a certain allotment of discounted credits, and then
let's talk about how this works. Go ahead, Sam. Yeah.
And so once they sell a certain amount of cars, then their cars from that manufacturer is no longer eligible for a credit on your taxes. And it's just like, so you're kind of disincentivizing car makers to sell a lot of cars because then the price goes up for the buyer.
Yeah, I see a comment here in our notes from Ben saying like, isn't this actually a good thing? Does it mean people are actually buying these cars? And yeah, sort of. So here's what's happening. The federal government issued these tax credits. I believe it's like up to $7,500 if you buy an electric car. And those are your federal credits. You also get, Sam, if you end up buying an EV in New Jersey, I believe you get extra credits.
Yes.
So I'm very jealous of that. But this is a way to help kind of like bring down the cost of EVs, and essentially it's the government kind of pushing people in that direction. Yes, there are criticisms of this plan because it mainly helps people who are affluent enough to buy a new EV. True. Yes, definitely. There are also a limited number of these. So once a car maker runs out of that allotment, like Tesla has fully run out, I believe.
Years ago, yep.
Years ago, you will not be getting that credit when you buy one of these cars. So what is interesting here is that, first of all, Toyota just launched their first like all electric car, the BZ4X. It's getting like so reviews. These tax credits probably they definitely applied to the Prius Prime and the RAV4 Prime, which were plug-in hybrids, so still have the hybrid drivetrain. They still run on gas, but you could plug them in for like 30 miles of electric driving, and you got like a fraction of a tax credit with that. So what is interesting is now we have a lot more car makers. We have many more companies coming out with EVs. We've got we've got VW. We've got pretty much every major brand. Hyundai has some. Kia has some coming. Kia just announced the EV6 or has the EV6 out. one thing that has made a lot of this competitive for people is just thinking like, oh yeah, I will save a little money when I get one of these nice new cars. So kind of a downside for Toyota to run out of it entirely. Also, I know car makers are also like wondering like, should we just like increase these numbers? Like, should we just like push the government to stop this limit or increase the limit a little bit so that more people can get EVs? I think there's good and bad to that. We're gonna have a whole episode dedicated to this at some point. But it's just interesting. Like, Toyota has run out. It is a weird situation for Toyota to be in. The BZ4X is also a weird car because from all the reviews I've read, like, it's not, it should be better. It should be better. There's a lot of like talk about how slow Toyota has been to adopt EVs in general because they were so committed to the hybrid drivetrain. So another disappointment for Toyota, basically. Folks, if you are looking into buying an EV, first of all, send us your questions at podcastengadget.com. I want to do a whole episode about this at some point. But yeah, just you may not want to look at the BZ4X. You may want to look at like all the other companies that do this if you want to save a little money.
And I'm actually in the market.
Sam?
I'm actually in the market for an EV because I know that like I'm probably going to move out to the suburbs, like do that, the typical move in a couple years. Yeah. And like, I know that I don't have a car right now, but I want my first car to be an EV because, with gas prices and the way things are going, it just doesn't make sense. And so I've actually been like, I took a vacation a couple weeks ago and I rented an EV to see how it would do on a road trip. And because like I think that's one of the main things that I'll be have concerns about is like the range anxiety, and then to see the tax credits get taken away, it's just like it's killing a lot of the momentum that the EV movement has.
It's because Toyota's too popular. I think that's the other thing. It's not that they're taken away; it's that Toyota is so freaking popular. People bought the Primes, and the RAV4 Prime was like last year was like the hot car to get. If you could get a RAV4 Prime, you were sitting pretty because it was a beautiful car. I tested one for a week. I still have like dreams of like that shiny red. It was like the shiny red and black one. I was like, oh yeah, so beautiful. But Toyota's too popular. I think that's the main thing. Will we see the government kind of like increase these tax credits or give us other incentives for people to move over to EVs? Will that be something that's limited now because of this EPA ruling? Who knows? We are like just kind of walking in the dark here. So
and I think it depends a lot on like future political elections and stuff like that, because I think like you said, a lot of the solutions like just increase the number of cars that can get the tax credit, or just increase the subsidies, because right now there is a price gap between EVs and gas powered cars, and you'd like to see the government encourage people to support EVs and support clean energy vehicles a little bit more.
I see a good note here in the from Buddy 30511 in our chat room, points out that the tax credit should just apply to individuals and not should just be an allotment of things to car manufacturers.
That sounds like a great
that would solve it. That would kind of solve it. Let everybody get an EV at a decent tax credit. That would be nice. My thing is when I was buying when I moved to Georgia, needed to get a car. I hadn't had one in 10 years because I was in Brooklyn. I really wanted a hybrid. EVs were too expensive, and I learned that used cars are where it's at. But the weirdness of the car market right now has made it all insane.
Used cars are going more for new cars in some cases.
Used cars are going for more. I talked about this on the show, but I was looking at the 2021 Sienna minivan, or the 2022, but even the 2021, which is hybrid by default, so they're all like hybrid cars. They were going for over $50,000 when those cars sold for $42,000 brand new. And I just couldn't. A part of me was just like, I can't justify that. I'm not going to pay for a car with 10 or 20,000 miles and pay more than what it was worth. But turns out everybody wants a Sienna now, so I should have just jumped on one when I had the chance and not have a car that can explode. Thanks a lot, Chrysler. Okay. A couple of more quick stories. God of War Ragnarok. Sam, are you excited for God of War Ragnarok? It is officially coming on November 9th.
I mean, I appreciate the God of War franchise, but I have not kept up with that game.
Have you? You didn't play the last one, which was like much more
I played a little bit of it. I've been kind of out on a lot of the big AAA titles, but I do appreciate for the new God of War, they're keeping with the father and son theme, which I think was like the real a nice twist on that franchise, because it really added a kind of another layer, not only a gameplay layer, but like a story layer where like you feel more connected to, you know, Kratos's and his son's relationship on terms of like what that actually has impacted in terms of how you play the game and all that.
Absolutely. I mean, it was also, I like the original God of War games, but to a certain extent, they were great, like big, you know, flexes of machismo and you know, fighting monsters, and
it was always like a weird, like
yeah,
super testosterone.
There was the
fueled, like, version
Kratos sex
of Devil May
game.
Cry, and it's like
Yeah.
I was always a Devil May Cry guy, and so
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, I don't want to deal with this Kratos guy.
Yeah, for sure. Kratos, he's
then-
a fun character, but those games had like the sex mini game and stuff, which was weird. This one's like more mature, you know. It is, was it Neil Druckmann, I believe, or it was like it is written more maturely. It's told like Sony's big budget titles now. It is very much like Last of Us-esque, so the story is mature. It is more like it's kind of open world, the last game, and also like the bosses and the fighting is more like you know, a Dark Souls type of thing. So huge bosses, really complicated fights. I think you'd enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to playing that on PC. Looking forward to playing this new one on November 9th, so that's nice to see. A quick story before we leave to, you know, this week. What the hell is going on with Minions?
This is just a big question I have in general, but specifically
that is my question.
with the Rise of Gru.
Minions: The Rise of Gru, yes, has made box office records. It has in its first weekend made more than $125 million, which is a huge thing. I don't really follow the numbers. What I have been noticing is the memes and the people going crazy. And as you can see, if you tune into our video at some point, folks, you will see an amazing image. Do that. What I have been noticing is that the memes coming out of this from Gen Z and the youth are just kind of wild. There is a TikTok trend of dressing up in full suits and going to watch Minions: The Rise of Gru. Just, there are a lot of TikToks about this. I saw them all over
and I don't
Twitter as
understand any of them.
I don't understand.
I mean, and so basically, you know, I guess the teens have really gone all in on this, and I'm not sure when Minions became this like cultural zeitgeist phenomenon.
I think a lot of them did grow up with it, but go ahead.
And so I guess, like, you know, we have all the teen boys are dressing up in like full suits. I've heard even some like renting tuxedos to go watch the Minions movie in the theater, and then the teen girls are dressing up as the Minions, and then apparently it's just like people going buck wild in the theaters. There's like I've heard that there's moshing going on, and I don't understand why or when this all happens.
Why or when it is all for the meme. So I just want to say, like, are the kids okay? I don't know.
I don't know.
I fully support going to the theater to support your pop culture of choice, right? Like, I was there for those midnight Lord of the Rings screenings, the midnight Star Wars prequel screenings where people would dress up. And if you want to have some real fun, if you've never seen it before, check out the Triumph the Insult Comic Dogs tour of the Star Wars line. I think it was the Phantom Menace line. That's on Conan. You should be able to find on YouTube pretty easily. Classic stuff, like classic bits. Look at these nerds. They're being ridiculous. The difference there, I think, at least for those nerd properties, is that people like those things. Like, people love Star Wars. People like Lord of the Rings. Like, it was a thing people genuinely were passionate about. Do you think that is the case for Minions, or is this just all like TikTok cloud? Like,
honestly, I was so confused because I thought it was all the big joke, and to me, it's almost like this is like Morbius Part 2.
This is very Morbius,
but it actually has follow through, and it's like the teens have commitment in a way that, like, it still kind of boggles my mind, because it's like, you know, they, like, the Morbius fans tricked Sony into re-releasing Morbius in theaters, and that
Morbius,
went terribly.
quote unquote fans,
right.
It wasn't fans. It was people online being like, yeah, sure, do it.
We'll definitely go see it if
we'll
you
totally go.
And then, but meanwhile, the team's like, no, we'll actually go see it, and we'll dress up, and we'll, like, you know, turn this into like a big free publicity campaign.
If anything, it shows like the teens, the Gen Zers, will commit to the bit far harder than apathetic millennials and other folks. So okay, congrats, Gen Zers. I am terrified. I am certainly terrified, and there is all sorts of Minion stuff happening. BuzzFeed did publish that Minions porn thing. Like, it is an erotic story about minions. It's exactly what you'd expect. So I think, you know what? The world is on fire. Everything is falling apart, but at least we have minions. At least we have the Rise of Gru. Let's move on to the other.
I still can't. That picture is that
Good
caught
picture.
me off.
Thank
That
you.
caught me
Thank you,
off guard.
Julio. Thank you, Julio. Did not expect that. I'm sure you're having fun with that. Let's save. Send me that picture, please, so we can use that in the post. Well, let's move on to what we've been working on, and I'm working on some things I can't quite talk about. I can say I am starting to test out macOSventura, the next version of macOS, for a preview piece. We're expecting the public beta release to launch sometime in July, so that's when everybody else can try it. I'm trying a developer beta right now. It's interesting. It still looks like macOS.
How much can you talk about it?
I mean, right now it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm not showing screenshots or anything, but I can say like Stage Manager is a really weird thing. Stage Manager is their new like type of multitasking. It puts like little squares of windows on the side, which is confusing because the dock is still there.
Right, because you still have the dock on the bottom, and the Stage Manager's off to the left, and it's like, and it's almost like the kind of the Windows varies the different desktop spaces, but the implementation is a little different.
But Macs also have different desktop spaces. They have different virtual desktops. So I will talk about this more in my preview whenever it gets written. I think Apple has always had trouble with multitasking and window management, and that is one thing that's always kept me on PCs. When I use Macs, I use it for work. I use it for a lot of different, honestly, most of my writing is on Macs. Most of my gaming and like general desktop work is on PCs. So I always try to balance both. But I am always using Expose. I'm always using those hot corners, which kind of like blow up all the windows open or all the windows for a specific application. That's how I've survived on Macs, because the dock is not a great way to deal with tasks like window management. Stage Manager is kind of getting there. It has its own like unique quirks because it like immediately centers every app. So it's sort of like iPadifying macOS in a way that I don't quite like, but you can group apps together. So if I had like Slack and Evernote and another thing like all together, you could drag their windows together and make that a group of apps. And that is kind of interesting. And then it like will remember where you left those windows. But
I was going to say, this seems like it would be a more useful feature on the iPad Pro than necessarily macOS.
It's coming, right? It's coming to the iPad. So certainly it's going to be better there. I want a new macOS, guys. Like, I don't know if we'll ever see a whole new
I'm not sure we're actually going to get it.
It's never going to happen because iOS is what is the future for Apple, right?
macOS and iPadOS is slowly going to merge, and we've been seeing this happen for the last couple of years. And I guess we will eventually get a new macOS, but it'll be closer to iPad.
macOS X, as it was originally called, like launched in 2001, and the desktop still looks the same. Like, it is just wild to me. You still get the dock, you still get the same basic desktop. It's over 20 years later, and we have not fundamentally changed. So I don't know. A part of me is just like, really, I guess Apple thought they nailed it the first time, and we're just like, we're never going to change. But since then, we've had Windows XP, we've had Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, and now we're at Windows 11. So Microsoft, at least, I do appreciate the fact that Microsoft tried some different things, even though Windows Vista was terrible and Windows 8 was like a weird experiment. Also, I'm working on recovering from COVID, as you could probably hear in my voice right now. It didn't hit me that hard. It was just kind of like a lingering cold. But I will say the hardest part was it was my daughter who got it from daycare, and I took care of her. So that's how I got it. And we were like, okay, we're just going to isolate from my wife and my baby son, Alexander. So basically, for over a week, I have not been able to hang out with my wife and my baby. I have not been able to touch either of them. And that is certainly rough. So there is a lot of talk going on about but COVID's not going to be a big deal. If you're vaccinated or whatever, just, take care of yourself. Sure. If you're living alone or if you're just with a partner or something and you both get it, sure, not bad. It is still annoying. It is hard to deal with if you're isolating as a family. So yeah, just want to shout out there, stay safe, people. Please wear your masks. We are in the middle of another rise, and I don't think people are really considering those numbers. The actual rate of infections is way up. People dying, the numbers of people dying are way up, and we're just as a society not paying attention to it.
Yeah, we've slowly settled into this regime where we're just living with it and we don't really think about it anymore. And we're no one's I think most people aren't doing that. Like you said, they're not checking the infection rates, locally every day. And so we're just yes, it exists. Maybe I'll wear a mask, or especially people who are set at risk. They're probably a little bit more conscious about it. But it's like, yeah. And every week there's like someone I know is like, oh yeah, I got it too, and it's like, and some people, like, they managed to go 2 years without getting it, and now it's like, oh, they're still it's still making its way.
Got it. If my daughter's school was a little more careful, if she honestly, if she would just wear a mask regularly, it's really hard to make a 3-year-old do that all day. If I'm not there keeping it on her, like, that's the main thing. Like, maybe it'd be fine. I did talk to the school, and they're like, hey guys, don't worry, we're scrubbing every surface, we're deep cleaning the classroom. I did have to have a back and forth with the school being like, God, it's been 2 years. That's not helpful. It's not doing anything. This is this is something spread through the air. You got to clean the air. You got to fix the air. I am just deeply frustrated by many things, including the Biden administration, which I think really pushed for, pretending like, hey, let's get back to work. Everybody just act normal. There is a human cost here. Luckily, my daughter and I, like my family, we got through it okay. But I know, like, somebody I know had to go to the hospital, because of this particular strain. The isolation, we didn't get to go anywhere. Like, I just stayed at home with my daughter, tried to do some work, but we couldn't go to the park. We couldn't really do anything. That sort of thing. Like, if you're going to be responsible about it, which I don't know if people are going to be, if they're trying to pretend it doesn't happen. If you're being responsible, then that's also hard to deal with. So just stay safe, everybody. Mask up when you can. I don't know if the boosters will actually help much anymore because they're based on the original virus, but get your boosters if you can. And I think there is news that they may reformulate the boosters to work with the newer strains. But I think that could help a lot of people too. So just stay safe out there. Nothing is fixed. Like, we're still in the middle of this. Be safe, people. What are you working on, Sam?
So I just had a review go up, the Asus ROG Zephyrus Duo 16, which is a really interesting dual panel notebook. And so that review is live on the site now. So please go check that out. And then I'm going to be moving on to the Lenovo Yoga 9i, which is, their flagship 2-in-1. Usually a great system. Haven't had a chance to really test it out yet, but stay tuned for that.
Was this your first Duo? Your first ROG Duo, Sam?
For Engadget, I've used it before, but
okay.
yeah, this is like and this is their kind of second generation. ScreenPad Plus, which I really think Asus is kind of hitting a stride. Now, I think there's like a lot of moving parts when it comes to dual screen laptops. And this thing is big. It's 16 inches. It's 5.5 pounds. It's pretty hefty as far as the 16-inch laptop goes. But for me, I have a dual monitor set up on my desk at home, and like anytime I'm traveling, it just feels weird. I feel like super constricted, and I just want that like a little bit of extra space so I can put Slack down on the bottom, and I can have one screen for whatever I'm working on. And so I really like it, and I really appreciate that Asus kind of takes a little bit of extra effort because they have these panels created specifically for their notebooks, which is something that a lot of other dual panel laptops don't do. They're just taking kind of generic panels from suppliers, and they're not customizing it to really enhance the abilities, the functionality of the system. And Asus is doing that, and so that's one thing I do like. That said, the thing starts at $2,500, and our review unit was about $4,000. So yeah, there's still a really big premium for the stuff like this. But I really like to see that this kind of form factor, this design is evolving in a way that, this was like a weird thing a couple years ago, but now it's like, this is kind of good. Yeah, super expensive, but I kind of like it.
It works. It works. I think for like, if you're a gamer with a budget, especially for like some pro gamers, like you get a nice big screen, you get a super powerful machine. Were you? I know you've been to Computex, many times, Sam. Like, have you seen? I remember when like Intel and Dell had shown off some like prototype devices of like what dual screen machines could look like. It's essentially this, and we saw that like 3 or 4 years ago. So it is nice to see like, things are getting there. Asus is getting there. The hardware in general, allows for desktop like gaming on the go with a nice secondary screen. Cool. I'm glad it exists. Have you played with the 14 inchers? Because I feel like size wise, that is more doable. And still like, you could carry it around, but you still
I haven't used the latest generation of 14-inch dual panel laptops. I think there's some of them are still rolling out, but you're right. That's something like I definitely would want to check out because if you're trying to like really maximize portability but still have a little bit extra screen space, I think that 14-inch form factor, like size-wise, could be a really great option, and theoretically should be a little bit cheaper. Yeah, and the other things like you said, for gaming, I love having Discord on that second screen because I can see who's chatting, I can see who's writing in chat, but I also don't have to like alt tab out of my game to see what's going on. And so like that's another just really great use of having a little bit of extra second screen that doesn't, and it like in other specs, this isn't like that Razer Project Fiona from like CES like way back in the day where it's like you're like origami, you're like MacGyvering your
the thing that was
setup.
stolen too, right? Like I believe that one was stolen.
There was two of them. I think they both got stolen and were never found.
Amazing. You can never show that off with your rig. Are you, and you're working on a power brick guide too, right, Sam?
Yes. And so this is something that I'm working on. It's been kind of a long time coming. And I think with a lot of the companies removing power bricks from the box, especially on the phone side, now people are like, it's kind of more important to like, hey, let me get a decent charging brick so that, hey, I can charge my phone fast, but also, hey, I can charge my laptop. And with like the proliferation of USB power delivery, it's like, oh, I can get like, I kind of care more about power bricks than I used to because I'm not getting the free ones in the box. And I really want like the max charging speeds to work my device. And so I'm working on that. It's taking a long time to test just because
I owe you a computer. I need to send you one too. Yeah.
No, and it's like, well, the hard part is like the testing because I'm starting like 10% battery life and I'm charging for an hour and seeing how long it takes to hit certain breakpoints. But once I have a device that's at 90% battery, I have to figure out how to spend all that energy so I can charge it up again. And on an iPhone or like modern phones, we're talking 16 hours of battery life. And so I can barely get one test run through a day. And so I got to make sure I'm like really on top of that. So hopefully we'll get it out soon, but that's basically what I'm working on.
Very cool. Yeah, first of all, they're the GAN chargers too, which are really tiny and can do a lot of power. But I really like there's like the combination ones where it's like just a nice little brick that can charge your phone, your computer, everything all at once. Like those things are really fantastic.
Right, and you always see those people at like out at Starbucks who are like hogging the outlet and they have like 4 things plugged. It's like let's get like a nice multi-port, small, like you said, GAN power brick, and you can power your phone and your laptop at the same time with decent speeds. And like, oh, this is kind of the dream of like, oh, USB power delivery, having one port that can do everything. And it's like kind of coming together. And so that's what I'm really trying to explore with that.
Awesome. Cool. Looking forward to that. Let's move on to our pop culture picks. What are you watching this week, Sam?
So I need your help. So remember how like summertime used to feel like the dead time for shows, but now it's like everything's coming out,
all the streaming shows all at once.
It's nuts. And I'm working my way through Stranger Things, but my wife does not like scary stuff, so we can watch like one episode of that a week.
My one recommendation would be pause Stranger Things. It's just it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You got so many other things to watch.
And so right now I'm trying to decide between The Boys, Umbrella Academy, The Bear, and The Old Man. And if you have any recommendations on which order I should go through those first, I'm happy to hear it.
I would say it depends on your mood because I have not seen the new season of The Boys yet, and I kind of fell off on Umbrella Academy. It felt like weekly written compared to a lot of superhero stuff.
I can see that.
I will say The Bear is goddamn incredible. It is one of the best things I've seen in years. It is super anxiety inducing. It is very much like Uncut Gems. But The Bear is a show set in Chicago about a star chef who goes to run his family's sandwich shop. And it is just like very, very hardcore, like behind the scenes stuff, like in a kitchen. Incredible show. So I think it's really well done, but it's also a show that will like leave you on edge. So I kind of binged it all with my wife in a couple of days before I got COVID. I would say start that, and if you can take it, like
you know what, that's the kind of push I need.
So
it's like, and I love all cooking content, but like recently, like my cooking shows have been a little bit skewed too heavily towards reality TV. So it's nice to have something that feels like more put together, more.
It's actually written. It is a dramatic story that's actually been put together.
That said, also, I have one nitpick is that I can't stand this like in cooking culture where it's like everyone addresses the chefs like they say chef as like an honorific, but like anytime you talk to someone, and it's like, can you imagine how weird it'd be like if I said, hey, reporter or editor every time I like try
to I kind of like it. Writer, you,
It just it feels weird. I don't know why this is a thing in the cooking world, but okay, sure.
The cooking world is weird, and yeah,
Yes.
I used to watch a lot of Bourdain stuff, so I think that's like my introduction to it. It is very much it's militaristic in a way too, and I think that is where a lot of that stuff comes down, because essentially these things are like a battle, like just getting everything prepared, getting everything cooked, and organizing it is the main thing. And you know, for a fast moving kitchen, that is very similar to like organizing a military attack or something. Anyway, The Bear is fantastic. I would recommend everybody check it out. It's on Hulu right now. Among those other shows, like I'm looking forward to seeing The Boys. I probably don't think I'll see the new Umbrella Academy, but The Old Man is also on Hulu. And if you like your old man action shows, that one is what, Jeff Bridges, right?
Yes. And so that's well, like, you know, Jeff Bridges is good in pretty much everything.
Good.
So I was like, you know what, I'll just go based on him. I like trust his abilities, and I'll probably check it out. But
and John Lithgow's in it too. It is, if you like that sort of like dad action show, sort of like Jeff Bridges Taken. It is kind of like
it's Taken the show, but a little bit more, and but it's not quite as like fantastical as some of the, like, especially the more recent ones, like Nobody, or like a John Wick type.
It's like very grounded, but also I think it's really well done. So check that out. That's The Old Man. Anything else you want to mention, Sam?
And in terms of gaming, you might have seen in the review video, but I've been playing a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
I love Turtles in Time back on the SNES days. Like that was like my jam.
Or
and
the
like
arcade
I was
game,
like a little worried. It's like, have I outgrown this genre? And I was like booting up. It's like, no, this is like fantastic. It like brought back all those like great memories of just like, you know, old school side scrolling beat 'em ups. And I've been having such a blast playing that game. So yeah, highly recommend. And it's like relatively cheap compared to like your standard AAA games too.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to checking this out. Also, this game made me realize, like, I'm a grown-up. I have space. I can get an arcade cabinet.
Oh,
maybe I should.
That's always a dream.
Business cat. Yeah,
but that's such an investment though, because it's like, it's a physical space thing, and you got to have the room for it.
It's vertical, you know, like the floor space actually isn't that much. It's the vertical thing, but you know, arcade cabinet where you could put in all sorts of games. I also know Walmart and other places like sell the ones with self-contained games, but you know, we want a little freedom.
Would you ever get like a cocktail style machine, like the old sit-down Pac-Man?
No, I've never liked those. It's like the ones that basically I loved as a kid, like the fighting machines, or like the Simpsons arcade game or something.
Yeah.
The
the four-player, the double wide. Those are
yes. Beautiful. Either the 4-player or just like a nice 2-player version of that. But yeah, give me the thing I could never really have as a kid was being able to play as much arcade Street Fighter as I wanted. It's like, or finish the Simpsons game, or finish the X-Men game, or
I don't think I've ever finished the Simpsons game in the arcade. Like you have to like pump coins and just cheat your way to get to the end.
I would love to do that. And also, like, I've got a little player too, you know, getting ready to play some games. So I'd love to like put her in there, and like we could have an arcade cabinet thing. So that's my dream. We shall see how that goes, folks. But yeah, if you're into arcade stuff, let me know, because I know like a lot of folks are following this. I'll move on to some of my stuff. First of all, The Bear, fantastic. Check it out. Also, Toucan Birdie, the show. This was from one of the BoJack Horseman workers, Lisa. She was an animator and designer there, Lisa Hannawalt. She started this on Netflix. It was canceled by Netflix. It got revived, I believe, on Cartoon Network, I believe on Adult Swim. But anyway, now it's back on HBO Max, and you can only watch season 2 on HBO Max. So this is the weird licensing world we're in right now. But yeah, it's about two friends, two bird friends. They live in a bird town, and it continues what made season 1 great. You know, they're two like 30-something bird women who live in the same apartment building, are just dealing with life. And it is a great show. I think it's really well written. The friendship is so hardcore, like it is just well done, feels really mature. But also it's really funny. It's visually inventive. It's a world where like plants can also be people, and they're just, you know, plants walking around and talking too. So there is no like rationality to it sometimes, but I do kind of love it. It is a very, very sweet show. So Toucan Birdie S2, check it out. That honestly, I was watching that like every night as I was trying to go to sleep, and I was going to sleep a lot during while having COVID.
Recovering COVID,
recovering. So
anything to stay entertained and not focus on the sickness.
Exactly. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if I if I wanted to just embrace the apocalypse that I feel like we're all running towards, I would recommend Mad God by Phil Tippett. And
So this is very much a vibe pick right now, huh?
this is a vibe pick, and no dialogue. It's just like it is. Phil Tippett is a guy. He is a special effects master. He's the guy behind the dinosaur puppets in Jurassic Park. He's behind like so many of the things you've loved and seen in movies. This Mad God is like a 10-year project. It is a stop motion / live action hybrid about an assassin who dives into the underworld on a mission. And there is no dialogue here. It is just purely scene to scene of motion. What do you call it? Stop motion beauty. It is one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Also, one of the most ugly things I've seen because it is.
I was gonna say like
nihilistic.
This style is very like
it is hardcore. So
yeah.
I will say like this is something you watch and your skin kind of crawls. I found something like weirdly hopeful about it too, but this movie goes places. It is very much an artistic experiment. It is not for everybody. But if you like interesting animation, if you just kind of want to embrace the end of the world, which is kind of a vibe I'm feeling at the same time while also balancing Tuca and Birdie, check this out. It's on Shudder right now. It is a beautiful work of art. Just feel free to make sure to take a shower after or something because you'll feel dirty watching it. It is super violent. It is. You just the horror. Like I'd imagine, like if hell was a place you could visit
while you're watching it,
take a break. It was produced like in segments, I believe, and like released over the past few years. If hell was a place you could visit, it would probably look like this, just pure insanity. So hey, check it out. My recommendation, my feel good recommendation of the week: Mad God on Shudder. Anything else you want to mention, Sam? Otherwise, I'll just run the credits.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. That's it for our show this week, folks. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own managing editor, Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Ellman. You can find Sam online at
Sam Rutherford on Twitter.
Yes, definitely follow Sam. You can find me online at Devindra. I talk about movies and TV at The Filmcast at thefilmcast.com. Email us at podcastengadget.com. Leave us a review on iTunes. Let me do that again. Email us at podcasts@engadget.com. Leave us a review on iTunes and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts. We're out, folks.
Okay, let's take some time to talk to chat because
Sure.
we
Hello,
did
chat.
not.
Hello, chat.
We're not able to talk to chat, and my apologies. Like audience, you weren't able to see that, but I was having trouble with my internet. I think I was like in and out for like 10 minutes.
I wanted to shout out to Julio who made the great Minions art.
Yes.
Oh.
Can you bring up the Minions art again, please?
Minions art.
That stunned me in the middle of the podcast. I was
You got to be ready for it because Julio's trying to mess us up during the live stream.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
Yes,
Thank you, Luke.
No,
Thank
okay.
you, Luke.
So thank you to Luke.
Thank you, Luke,
for the quick edit. I don't know. Like, I think they probably used something else for yours, Dev, but like they definitely used just like Sam and my Twitter pictures. That Twitter picture is at least 5 years old now.
Amazing.
I have not updated that in a while.
Update it.
So
hello, folks. Hello, chat room.
Yeah,
Thank
chat.
you.
If you have anything that you want to talk about, if you have any questions,
I saw people
about...
like fighting about the EPA ruling, which is okay, sure.
I mean,
I guess you want to breathe more bad air. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything good happening?
And so, chat, you don't have to ask us about anything that happened during the episode. You can also ask us about, just stuff that you're thinking of buying, kind of, a guide if you're thinking about laptops, or if you want to add some more information about those cabinets. The problem with arcade cabinets that I've heard about, unless you're making your own arcade cabinet with like a Raspberry Pi or something, like kind of newer circuitry, is that if you're trying to get like an actual like of the era arcade cabinet, those things apparently break down all the time.
I would never do that. I'm not that crazy. Yeah. You need an LCD. You can't do it a CRT, and you need something that is legally gray, I shall say.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it would probably end up being some kind of Raspberry Pi setup. Mm-hmm. Definitely one of those situations like I guess if you were really into vinyl circa like 2002 when vinyl was out, you would have to pay a lot of money for technically worse quality. Same situation with arcade cabinets with CRTs and old circuitry these days.
Mark Dell's talking about the Mister. The Mister, I'm very interested in the Mister. I'm looking at the Mister.
Yeah, I mean, I think my dream is just to have an arcade cabinet where I can just fire up anything.
Oh yeah,
that, like, you know, from like 20 years ago or
exactly.
like more recent stuff.
All I need is
you just
16,
have that, like, one
yeah.
gaming station, and it's like
one
does
gaming
everything.
station.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I have you know, a home theater set up. I have a gaming computer. Sometimes I just want to like walk up to a thing and be like, I'm playing Simpsons now, or I'm playing X-Men, you know, Children of the Atom, or whatever that was called.
Oh yeah, that X-Men arcade game.
Also, I only want 16-bit plus. I think I've learned that most of those NES games I can just live without. Give me Mario, give me some Zelda, give me Mario 3, but I don't want to go back to Ninja Gaiden. Yeah,
Buddy Love brings up a good point. He's like, the Turtles game just opens up the door to all the old beat 'em up arcade games.
Yeah,
this is exactly what I want, because like
Double Dragon.
I was like, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, even there, not too long ago, there was a Streets of Rage 4, and that was great too. And it's like, do a Golden Axe remake, like bring that back. Like, I'm here for all that stuff.
All of it. I mean, the Scott Pilgrim game was good. That was recently like relisted because that was unavailable for a while.
Right, so, that got removed from Steam for a while. Yeah.
Isn't there's the girls game too? I forget that name.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
No, that's not
something else.
Chainsaw something.
No, Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, but that's a fighting game, isn't it?
That's River City Girls, which was the sort of like pseudo sequel to River City Ransom. So I heard that was a lot of fun too. So there is room for these things. I've always liked these kinds of games.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I get that makes sense actually, and I didn't put the two and two together. But Streets of Rage 4 is the same studio as the Turtles team. So yeah.
Yes. That's true. I loved playing. I remember like when I was a kid, like I would go to my friends' houses and we would just play these games over and over again. So I kind of want to recreate that experience. Yeah. River City Girls. Yes. Thank you, Mark Dell. My other thing is I do kind of want to find like a good old CRT to be my like 16-bit TV, like the thing, my classic retro console corner. I wish I had not sold my CRT back in the days.
Yeah, there's a lot of old gaming gear I wish I hadn't sold.
I've been seeing some stuff on TikTok of like people buying like these really high quality CRTs from like the local
studio
TV
monitors.
stations.
Yep.
I'm
like
not even
stores.
really deep into retro gaming TikTok, but like I saw that and I was like, that's amazing. That's cool.
Amazing. Yeah, looks good. Or even if you get
a lot of the old
Trinitron.
like Sony Trinitron monitors, those are the ones. Like if you ever see those, just fucking buy it and figure out how to get it home.
Yeah.
Worry about shipping later, but yeah.
I had a Samsung with like a Trinitron type of tube, and that was beautiful. And
let's just hope that the local TV stations don't start getting wise to the idea that people actually really want their studio monitor CRTs.
It's already too late. Like if you go on like a lot of like the mainstream channels to get that stuff, the prices on CRT monitors, nice ones, are already through the roof.
And the thrift stores have learned too, so they have priced up their stuff. So
just like thrift clothing in the last like 10 years or so has gotten a lot smarter. So Sam,
yes,
connected to your idea of everybody saying yes, chef, do you understand how militaristic the original like organization of kitchens was?
Oh yeah,
so,
I mean, like,
yes, chef is more of a military thing than anything.
Oh, it is, and that's this thing like I don't like about it. It's like you know, because that was like a lot of the like old school like kitchens were just like straight up abusive, and it's just like
that's still the thing.
And
honestly,
I think
the bear is
a lot of newer chefs are like starting to move away from that, which I think is good for everybody. But just like the whole like militaristic style of it has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah.
So we are creative artists. We cannot be contained in a kitchen line. I don't know.
I was trying to figure out whether or not there was a connection between like the like cooks that traveled with Napoleon's armies and the current like setup of the French kitchen. I was not able to find that. I was able to find better information about the like modern organization of French kitchens, which has then like cross-pollinated to all other fine dining. That was by George. That was figured out by George Escoffier during his lifetime between 1846 and 1935. And so, like, anything that you see in like really, really fancy kitchens probably derived from that. The organization that you see in anything on media like Ratatouille or Food Wars. I've been watching a lot of Food Wars recently.
Great anime.
Although it's made me really like, it's made me look for Hu Xiaobing, like this Taiwanese like pork bun. It's so hard to find even in New York City.
Sam can help.
So this is that's one of the things, like, so my mom's side of the family is from Taiwan. That's one of the things I like look for. The black pepper buns are incredible. But like, this is like, especially over the pandemic, because a lot of the restaurants were closed, it's like I had to figure out how to like cook my own, like, you know, Taiwanese classics, because I couldn't order them anywhere. And you know, it's like, so some of the stuff is just like, you're right, it's hard to find, and I wish it wasn't, but
it's so wild. Like, since I moved to Georgia, like, there's a huge Asian immigrant population here, so on demand now I get like perfect beef noodle soup. I get like a lot of Taiwanese stuff. I'm like, I'm just in a suburb outside of Atlanta. Why couldn't I get this in New York?
I've heard
as
Atlanta
good as the stuff that you've eaten at Computex.
Yeah, as good as Computex.
I heard Atlanta has incredible Korean fried chicken restaurants.
I have a huge lineup of like Korean, like, basically I'm a little spoiled, because if we ever move back to New York, it will involve trekking to Chinatown or wherever to find this stuff.
Okay, I think that we're about done with our show today. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, folks.
The video stream comes to you via our video team, which is Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. If you've stuck around this long, you like technology, you know that we live in a world of algorithms, and so it's really important to rate us 5 stars on iTunes, rate us 5 stars on whatever other podcast platform you might be using, Google Podcasts, Spotify if you have to use it. And any other podcast platform. Tell a couple of friends about us. Just like make some random posts on the internet, maybe. Just like leave something about the Engadget podcast on a random YouTube comment. Why not? And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, folks. Mics are hot.